Hi, and very welcome to Diversity in Crypto in the Nordics 2026. I'm your host today, Zarina, and I work as Project Manager at Blockchain Sweden. As International Women's Day is coming up this weekend, this event is organized by Kaupr and focusing on highlighting women in the crypto and Web3 space, and also on inspiring and making it easier and more accessible for everyone to explore crypto. We are very grateful to all of the supporters of this mission, from crypto exchanges, educational, diversity incentives, event organizations, industry association. It's a great mix of organizations supporting this mission. Huge thanks to all of you. For us at Blockchain Sweden, it is important to support initiatives like this because real adoption can only happen when both men and women are part of building the future. At Blockchain Sweden, we work to accelerate blockchain adoption in Sweden and most recently through a Vaverova-funded project. So if your company or an organization you know of is interested in exploring whether blockchain could be relevant for you, please feel free to reach out and be a part of this project. Today, we will be hearing from many amazing women and ladies in the ecosystem, founders, builders, researchers, community leaders, who are all helping shape the future of crypto, blockchain, and digital finance. On the slides, you can see all of these amazing ladies coming onto the show, and we will together cover topics like insights and status in the industry today, female initiatives, saving and investment, women and tech, career and education. So sit back and enjoy. And as one of our guests said earlier, this is the perfect Friday after work session. Let's get started. First, I would like to welcome Morten Myrstad, founder and CEO of Kaupr, who initiated this event. Morten, Kaupr is now arranging this for the second year. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, how this initiative started, and the mission behind it?
Thank you very much, then, Zarina, for hosting this show. Really amazing. And also, of course, thanks to all the supporters and the speakers that we will meet. Kaupr is a media company. We are trying to share knowledge, news, but also inspire people to go on chain, both in a Web3 world, a blockchain world, but also in a finance world. And what we have seen is that the lack of diversity is a barrier to adoption. And people are always talking about the next billion of users coming on chain in the world. And it won't happen unless women also are part of it. And we know that, especially in the crypto industry, there is not that equal participation or equal share of value. So we wanted to share knowledge about it, share and stress this need to do something. And we had a great show last year with 3 hosts from the Nordics. And we are looking forward to the show also this year.
Thank you, Morten, and thank you so much for taking this initiative to create this amazing event. So also to better understand why conversations like this is important, let's take a look at the current landscape and some of the numbers behind why initiatives like this is still needed. We move on to our first topic, insight and status in the industry today. Because while cryptocurrency or crypto adoption continues to grow globally, we still see a gap when it comes to participation, and especially amongst women. In Sweden, the status in general, Finansinspektionen, the Swedish financial regulator, does a Swedes savings report annually. In 2025, they announced that men hold a large share of assets in stock or hold a larger share, but women hold more in saving accounts, and men own 2/3 of portfolios above 1 million. Avanza Bank, also Swedish bank, said that 2025 women represent 40% of customers, but only 26% of the total capital invested. So it means that more women are coming in, but it also means that men is the ones who are holding most capital. So it's interesting to see how does this compare to other countries and the crypto space in general. Morten, please tell us a little bit about the findings from the Crypto Adoption Survey 2025.
Well, the Crypto Adoption Survey has been for several years now. It has been run by K33, but also supported by Nordic Blockchain Association during the years. We have been a media partner as well for the Crypto Adoption Week. And what is the status from the last year's survey is that in the Nordics, there are 15% of grown men that own crypto, while there's only 4.5% of women in the Nordics that own crypto. So if you look at it in a little different way, it means also that among the crypto owners, 20% is female, and then 77% are male. And between the Nordic countries, there are some quite large differences. So Norway is around 30% when it comes to female ownership, part of the total ownership, while Danes are 18%, and Swedish and Finns are somewhat in between. And even Icelandic have a share on 33%. But compared to other countries, we are behind, and especially when we look at it on a Nordic level.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you, Morten. And also, I was wondering regarding awareness and acknowledgement in crypto, how does it look between men and women?
Yes, this is also some other surveys. I mean, the Norwegian tax authorities have done some surveys, but also the Norwegian Central Bank. And it shows that, for instance, when it comes to knowledge about or awareness about words like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, that is more or less the same, and it's 98 or 99%. But when you look at other tokens, like Ethereum or other tokens, there's a great gap. And also when you look at different types of way of investing, for instance, DeFi or decentralized finance, it's much more known among men than women, and the same is the situation with stablecoin. So it is a difference not only when it comes to investment, but also when it comes to awareness.
Well, that is really interesting, especially since we see this huge wave of stablecoin adoption coming on. We are still missing out the women. That's a huge part of the market, actually. But compared global versus Nordic, do you have any numbers on that, Morten?
Well, it says that it's 31% on the global level. So we are a little behind with these 23%. And the best one is Italy with 34%, but also in Kenya it's over 40%. That is maybe because in the third world they have a lack of often banking and other types of financing. So Bitcoin and other types of cryptocurrencies has been growing in the third world also then for women, it seems.
Interesting to hear. Thank you so much. So besides the gap in investment savings, there also seems to be a gap then in knowledge and awareness, and also how many women that invest in the crypto space. So while numbers show that there is still a gap, we are also seeing many initiatives working to change this. So our next topic will be talking to ladies working to make a real difference. And one of those initiatives is She. It is founded by Alexandra Overgaag. And welcome, Alexandra. You are CEO and founder of Thrillds Labs and also the initiative She. So happy you could join us today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zarina, Morten, both of you, and of course your communities and your companies for the wonderful invite. Lovely to be here. I hope I'm audible and visible through the phone. Thank you.
Perfect, we can hear you. Thank you. And you are a Dutch, Alex, so maybe you are a tiny bit Nordic as well.
Maybe with a little bit of fantasy, we could assume it. Yeah.
Thank you. Could you just start with briefly introduce yourselves and talk little bit more about this initiative She and what you're building?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Alex. I'm the founder and CEO of Thrillds Labs, which is a Dutch company active in our wonderful Web3 space. We are building since a couple of years now various solutions for networking and for events and conferences in our industry. And She fundamentally is what I like to see as a separate but also connected pillar of our company. It's basically based upon my experience as a female founder, raising capital, doing business in this space, building a tech product. And what I really came about is that as a woman, sometimes it could be great to connect with other women who are professionals in this wonderful global industry. I think that many of you know that there is by now probably a couple of 100,000 Web3 professionals actively working in this industry. Those are 2023 bear market numbers. So I would expect that by now we are, probably seeing approximately 300,000. But anyway, to your question, She is basically our female business community. And it really seeks to bring women that are professionals or executives or leaders in our industry together. So investors, builders, developers, founders, maybe marketeers, lawyers, can be anyone. And the idea is that we hustle together, that we create deals together, that we network, that we make introductions. We do some live events from time to time online. And there's also a separate space for the women in our networking app, Thrilled, which is our flagship product.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Alexandra. And you mentioned connecting, the need to connect with the women in the space. Is there a gap in the Netherlands? Was that why you were inspired to start this She, or did something else inspire you to start it?
I would be very honest with you. I think that there are by now quite a lot of women building in Web3, as you might know, and many of the other guests might know that these days. Many, of course, are also, retail investors these days, or also are holding tokens in one way or the other, or using them on a daily basis. But what I did observe over the years is that to do business in this industry, right, to raise capital, to create deals, to grow companies, or your own career, or maybe you're looking for a job, to do all of that, interestingly, it's very, very important who you know, and where you're based and where you go. And I saw some barriers there for women, but also for others. But specifically for women, I thought, wouldn't it be great if we do like men, that we hustle together, that we create deals together and whatnot. So it came basically from the observation that connectivity is so important and who you know is so important. So I thought, why women not, right? So therefore, She.
Amazing, amazing. When you talk about women entering the space, I know you're very passionate about this and you are a founder yourself. What do you see as the biggest barriers for women entering crypto today? What lessons have you learned so far from building She?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a popular opinion. I don't think that there are necessarily barriers for women to enter Web3. I do believe that Web3 is an open, and all the technological applications on the blockchain and whatnot, it's an open access type of technology, right? You just need your hardware, your computer, your wallet, and you can, jump in. I would say, though, that there are some other systemic barriers, specifically if you want to, land a job or raise capital as a female founder, or maybe even, grow as an investor. There are challenges there. And oftentimes, of course, we say education is key. And I do believe that as well. A thing that I like a little less, if I may be honest, is the narrative that we're always focusing on empowering women we're never speaking about empowering men. We're always speaking about empowering women, and women are already strong. So to answer your question, what I think is that maybe I needed to believe a little bit more in myself initially as a founder. I thought that there were many things that I couldn't do, and ultimately I could. I could build a company, I could land a job, I could be an investor since 2017, raising capital and whatnot. So what I would say is that we need to believe in ourselves, be connected. Yes, sometimes education is important depending on who you're speaking about, and just basically build and believe in ourselves. Maybe one final thing that I would add here, without that I'm rumbling on for too long, is that there are barriers, right? In terms of, the amount of capital that we're raising, men have an easier time, et cetera, et cetera. There are ample barriers out there, but I do think that many of them can be overcome also by collaboration between women and between men and women and everyone else.
Thank you. That's really good advice. Believing in yourself in this industry as a woman or female, and also have a good network and connecting. And women are strong. I completely agree with you on that, Alexandra. Thank you so much. What has worked? Because I know you also have helped women into this ecosystem industry. What has worked best when onboarding women, do you believe?
I think that initiatives by companies can be really important. At Thrilled Labs, we have a traineeship where we are really onboarding a lot of wonderful young professionals and students, females mostly, but also guys from time to time. And I do think that also where we see other big companies that are doing that, sometimes I do feel that it's a little bit too much framed in terms of marketing and the execution, right? What happens after a woman clicks on that page and wants to be involved with this exchange or educational initiatives, then there's not so much happening. So what I would basically say is what we need is programs. Yes, we need a hands-on approach, but then also execution, not only talking about empowerment and everything that Web3 stands for, but also doing it, building products, building this new economy, and building global collaboration that is open to everyone, regardless of your background or your gender, etc. So more execution, I would say.
More execution, more collaboration. Great. And I was wondering, because I know we have a lot of listeners at the moment, they are mostly from the Nordic space, but also if they are interested in joining your initiative, Alexandra, what is the best way to connect and be a part of She as well?
Thank you very much for asking. Feel free to connect with us, for instance, on LinkedIn. You can find the company Thrilled Labs by searching for it. You can also have a look at our networking app if you want, but feel free to reach out also just on my personal account. I'm almost happy to help or just learn from you as well. It's not always that I'm helping. It can also be that I'm learning from you, right? And that we just create something nice together. So feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also can give a tip. I know that Alexandra is great with She working on doing events that highlight this topic and write articles as well. So if you want to learn more, that is definitely a good source for you to look up. Thank you so much, Alexandra. We look forward to following your initiative.
Thank you for the invite.
Women, thank you. Okay, so from Alexandra's She to another initiative to inspire and empower women and to enter the crypto space, women and Bitcoin. We have Hani and Rebecca. Welcome. Pleasure to have you both attending.
Thank you very much, Zarina, for having us.
Thank you so much. We're very glad to be here. It's a very good initiative, and we're happy to take part of it.
Great. I was wondering, I know you have different backgrounds and different stories, and you are working on different things, but you also do this initiative, Women and Bitcoin Together. But by start, could you please introduce yourselves a little bit, your background, and what you're working on today? Maybe start with you, Hani.
Oh, sure. I was thinking Rebecca to start, but
okay,
go
ahead,
go for it, Rebecca.
Oh, okay, thank you. This is, by the way, very a female thing, which I very much appreciate. But thank you, Hani. So I'm Rebecca Nakamoto. It's a very common name in the Bitcoin space, weirdly. So I work at BTCX, which is Sweden's Bitcoin only exchange, and we were founded in 2011. So I'm usually saying we're probably the oldest Bitcoin company in the world right now. But my background, I worked 10 years or more in social work and in neuropsychiatry before entering the Bitcoin stage. So it's neither technical nor financial, but learning more about the Bitcoin ecosystem. I mean, scraping on the surface, I still feel like I'm working with social work, because in my understanding, Bitcoin is the most powerful tool for financial and therefore social freedom and equality. So yeah, Hani.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Hani Baloch. First and foremost, I want to introduce myself as a mother of 4. So everything I do, which shapes me what I do at the moment. So I wear a lot of hats, and I am also co-founder of Women in Bitcoin together with my Bitcoin queen, Rebecca. And I'm also honored to be presented as an ambassador for blockchain Sweden. And I'm also a representative for Kaupr in Swedish team. So, and nonetheless, I'm a co-founder as well and a board member of AI Institute. So I have a lot of hats beyond that. So I'm passionate about community building. At the moment, I'm helping organize startup events through Connect Us, Founders Live, Nutty Ventures, and where we bring investors and founders together, both online and in person, to collaborate. So shout out to Namel. And my background is law and business development, and I'm currently studying blockchain technology. So now in your back of your head, you're wondering, okay, she got 4 kids, she had these all amazing titles and stuff like that. How would she manage all this? Yes, I can give you a secret. I have to support system. And those support system is my husband, shout out to him, and my mentor is my brother.
That's great. Thank you, Hani, and thank you, Rebecca. I mean, it's really interesting. You come from so different backgrounds, but still we are all here together to work for the diversity in crypto. And I think this is the case many times when you talk to people in this space. They have had a career or a different path before and then got hooked on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency and wanted to explore more. So it's really fascinating, this space. But
Indeed.
About breaking barriers in Bitcoin, your podcast aims to break barriers and make Bitcoin more accessible to everyone, regardless of background or prior knowledge. So from your perspective, what are some of the most common questions or misconceptions that women face when approaching Bitcoin or crypto today?
Yeah, I can start. So, I mean, first, maybe lack of these kinds of events. I very much applaud these initiatives very much. But I would agree with the previous speaker, the Alexandra, in the previous session. I mean, the lack of confidence. I think very much that women need to believe more in themselves, and I mean, many women, in my experience, including myself, we want to know things perfectly before we can enter a conversation to feel like we have something to offer. But I mean, I don't think anyone knows exactly everything when they start off. And secondly, of course, I mean, entering this stage is how Bitcoin. I mean, our focus is Bitcoin, so is how Bitcoin is presented and has been presented historically in media. I mean, it's either focusing on the negative environmental impacts, or it's overly focused on price surges or price crashes, which creates big headlines and intimidates people, basically. So I would say, when Bitcoin is mixed together with all the thousands of different digital projects that are created every day, people assume that it's all the same. It's Bitcoin is just one scam. It's a pyramid scheme. It's going to zero, and they equal risk with volatility with risk. So this is a big misconception. But I would say, I would argue that we are also overly focusing on trying to understand what Bitcoin is. And for me, I would feel it would be it would give more meaningful conversations if we started asking why Bitcoin even exists. I mean, like you and Morten was talking about in the introduction. I mean, there are so many people out there that are still unbanked. There are corrupt governments. There are central banks that keep printing money from thin air just to cover up big debts. And Bitcoin solves this problem by its code. So I think when we start to focus on this instead of trying to understand the technology behind it, I think this people will cross over the barriers.
It's interesting what you're saying. First of all, of course, self-confidence, but also to actually, we don't need to understand, or everyone doesn't need to understand the small technical details, just understand what Bitcoin and cryptocurrency actually makes possible, because they make a lot of things possible that fiat or traditional currencies do not. Thank you. Yeah. So moving on, empowering women in the ecosystem, your podcast focuses a lot on storytelling and real conversation, and a key part is your mission to highlight women working in Bitcoin and crypto. So I just wanted to ask, why do you think storytelling and community are important to help people and women understand Bitcoin? And why do you think it is important to showcase these female voices and role models in the space?
Thank you. I think I can take that question for myself here now. And I think storytelling and community are absolutely essential when it comes to helping people understand Bitcoin. And because the technology can feel a little bit distant, and it's full of, as Rebecca mentioned, it's code, it's charters, it's jargon, but the storytelling makes it human. And so when someone share why they got involved in Bitcoin and the struggle they faces and the freedom, the opportunity they found that Bitcoin, then it connects with the people and emotionally connects with the people. And it's built trust. And this is how we learn, how we learning and adapt the truly start through sharing experience and real voices, not just technical explanations. So some showcases female voices in this space is just as important. When some woman hears a story from another woman, like a founder, developer, creator, business developer, and it shifts what it feels like. Okay, it's possible. So the representation builds confidence, and it helps the new people see that the belonging, I belong here too. So Bitcoin and crypto are meant to be tools for inclusion and financial independency. But the only way will happen is everyone is part of the story. And that's why we are trying to amplify for women in Bitcoin through those conversations.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I hear you're coming back to the same topics, both of you, empowering women and be more confident and show good role models. So is that what inspired you to start this platform, to be able to do that? Or could you tell us a little bit more what's the foundation? What made you start, and what was the initiative between women and Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm. I can start. I mean, Bitcoin for me came actually from my brother. He's the one who's driving this whole thing, and he kept me, getting interested into Bitcoin. And I just always, no, I'm not interested. It's too difficult. But it's really actually clicked when I actually went to a meetup, Women in Bitcoin meetup event in 2024, actually where Rebecca was hosted, and that's where I first understood the difference between the current fiat system, as they call it, and the decentralized system. So at the moment, I was like, okay, this is huge, this is big, but I didn't do anything about it. So I went back to my regular life. Kids, this is how it is. This is the reality. And then I didn't do anything about until November, actually. And then I remember clearly. I remember that I was sitting by the window in my bedroom, and I just looking outside, and I was. And believe it or not, I actually took a picture of that day, because somehow in my guts, I felt like this is a very important day. So what I did, I spent the whole day, did the research, and noticed a huge gap. Where are the platform where women can learn about Bitcoin in a way that they feel related to them? There was no podcast who's speaking directly to us, and so I took the leap, and then I was like, I'm not an expert, as I say, I'm not an expert, I don't know everything, but let me try it. So what I did the same day, I actually contacted Rebecca. We had previously made up a Woman in Bitcoin WhatsApp group, and I reached out and I said, we need to do something about it. So story goes back to Rebecca.
So great. Also having a picture.
So we started the podcast in January 2025, and by then I had attended a lot of Bitcoin meetups in Stockholm and Sweden and also abroad. And it's not a secret that there were most male, and not only male participants, but also nerdy men, with beards and weird messages on their t-shirts. And I felt, and the conversations tended to be very overly technical, and I was just honestly bored by it. So when I discovered the deeper aspects of Bitcoin, I was just instantly fascinated, because then I could relate. So this was why I wanted to start a space where these conversations could happen. And my experience is that women are more naturally drawn to these kind of conversations.
It's amazing, and thank you so much for starting this initiative. I listen in and I enjoy it very much. It's on Spotify, so for everyone who hasn't detected it, it's a good or a very nice podcast to listen to. Can I just briefly ask any lessons you have learned through this Women in Bitcoin podcast? What are good tips or insights that you would like to share?
So I can. So what I've learned is that women tend to be very reflective. Just investing overall, and also in Bitcoin. And for me, it's like women. We combine technique and finance with not just accumulated knowledge that we pick up from podcasts and books, but actual wisdom. We want to be aligned with our inner values when we invest our money in something. But of course, what I learned is that we often checked off the price discussion fairly quickly, and we just dived into the deeper aspects of Bitcoin, which is like long-term thinking. We want to create a better world for our kids. We want to be, build a sustainable society. So this is what we care about more and more. And of course, connection is very important for women to have a community that you can safely and in a relaxed way discuss money, because I don't think women are so used to discuss money as men are, or relaxed with it.
That's a really great point. Thank you, Rebecca. I think there is, as you were mentioning, there is a lot of noise regarding Bitcoin and the price, but there is so much more to talk about, and I'm really grateful that you and Hani does that. So amazing. And thank you so much, Hani and Rebecca. Really inspiring to hear about the Women in Bitcoin initiative.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another important question is how women can actually start participation and be a part of this financially and building financial knowledge. So let's move to our next topic, investment and saving. Welcome, ladies. I shall have 3. It should let we see.
Hi, great to be here.
Hi, Michaela. So let's see. Hi, Erika.
Hi, Zarina.
Here. How are you today?
I'm great. It's fantastic to be here, and it's been wonderful to listen to everyone so far.
Amazing, amazing. And welcome. Such a fantastic turnout, and thank you all for being here. So let's talk about investment and savings. I know, Michaela, you are a CEO and founding partner of Feminvest, and I also know you have a personal interest of Bitcoin, blockchain, and AI. Erika, you serve as CCO with Fragbite Group, Bitcoin Treasury. And Madeleine, I cannot see in your picture, but you are with us? Yes. Hi, welcome, Madeleine. CEO and founder of... Okay, I wanted to start by taking turns and let yourself introduce yourself, your organization, and what you're working on now. Maybe, Michaela, you could start.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So I founded a community company in 2020 called Feminvest that has grown into more than 50,000 women. We gather women entrepreneurs and investors. And what I really wanted to do was to understand if there were women that led companies that were prepared for scaling, and could I pick the winners from a commercial point of view through using the community and leveraging that to invest. And now I've set up a VC. We've done 5 investments very soon. We're going to announce our 5th investment. And what we do differently from all other VC funds is that we look at companies at least 50% owned by women. And this is unique. I realized when I did an IPO with the first blockchain SPAC in the world, I was the chairwoman of that in January 2022. I was the largest women owner. I owned 2.6% at that time. And I saw a report that women for every IPO that's happened in Sweden own 1% in relation to the guys in management and board. And by that, I realized, we are, through the financial system, we are stepping in and scaling companies. We're building companies, but we're not owning them. So could I actually build a community based on 50% ownership? We've had 1,500 companies applying to the fund, and we are going to do some great investments. I got the news today that we've done our first 3x on one of the companies we invested in the summer last year. So it's a good business case.
Amazing, thank you. And really impressive that you were the first chairperson of this blockchain SPAC in 2021. That's great.
Yeah, it was all over the news.
Thank you. Moving on to you, Madeleine. Could you share a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, so my name is Madeleine Bjørnestad, and I'm the CEO and founder of Stack by Me. And my background is in finance. I have a master's degree in finance from NHH, and then I started working in Pareto Securities before I moved over to the fund business and Pareto Asset Management. For the past 5 years, I've been running Stack, which is an investment app targeting women. So it's very, very different visually from the other apps. Also, our approach to getting customers and how we get them to invest inside the app is also very different. We do webinars, we have an in-app academy, and we make money off of people investing through the app. So think of it as like a feminine Nordnet. And then we are also, I'm here because we are launching crypto through tier markets as the execution partner as soon as the FSA will accept our notification.
Thank you, Madeleine. So nice to hear. And Erika, please explain a little bit, what are you doing and what is your organization about?
Just have to say, I hope the sound is working, because for a period there I didn't hear you guys, but now I can hear you well. Really happy to be here. I am the Chief Communications Officer for Fragbite Group. We are a listed company on Nasdaq First North. We have more than 20 years experience in gaming and esports, and have spent a couple of years in Web3 gaming, but recently shut that down And this past summer, we started a Bitcoin treasury. So we're breaking new ground in combining our core competencies in gaming and esports with a long-term ambition in Bitcoin treasury. So I've kind of been, as I say, tech adjacent in terms of blockchain assets and so forth for a couple of years now. And this pivot into Bitcoin has been very exciting. So happy to be here today and talk about that.
Great, and happy to have all of you. I mean, we have 3 different perspectives. We have the traditional finance and this initiative to include females from Feminvest and Michaela. We also have crypto onboarding, you can say, in an easy way on this saving app, backed by me from Madeleine. That is also a great perspective and angle. And then we have Erika, who is sort of mixing this traditional finance with crypto exposure via an easy way if you want to have that exposure. So I'm gonna ask you, and you have different angles. So Michaela, from your women and entrepreneurship and access to capital, this investment gap in savings and investment between men and women, why do you think there is still a gap, and what needs to change to encourage more women to start investing?
Well, we are investing. We're actually experiencing quite a challenge in the financial industry. We see partners at the largest, really successful venture capital firms leaving if they are women. And this is a thing that's been going on for many years. And we see a huge decline in Sweden at the moment, for example, as one of the most equal countries in the world. But if you look at, we are part of an organization called Level 20, that is like setting the standard that it should be 20% decision makers from an investment perspective in the VC and PE space. And they haven't reached that across all countries yet. So there are very little women decision makers. And this is skewing the decision making for sure. There's also unconscious bias in regards to what companies are scalable. We see another way of portraying their businesses. We take calculated risk, I would say. We're not risk averse, but we calculate the risk and we present more realistically what we're going to deliver on. And this is an excellent business opportunity. So if we crunch the numbers, we look at, for example, PitchBook data presented data from companies that are female funded, how much capital went into them from 2010. And they see that it's approximately 2% of venture capital in the US and Europe has been going towards women entrepreneurs. And if you look at A rounds, the exits that has been made by women are 24% in the US and 22% in Europe. So this is just telling its own story that it's a great business potential there. And we've done 4 investments and 5 that will be announced. The 5th will be announced soon. And we have 1 company that is doubled in valuation from the summer, 1 company committed investors, 1 on 3x, as I mentioned, from the summer, 1 and 2. The 2 other companies are up 20% in valuation with committed investors. So even the venture capital industry is challenged at the time with limited amount of money flowing into it, but this is where the money should go.
I agree. I agree completely. And what do you think needs to change that? What needs to happen?
There's a universal language in revenues and profits. So I think the more we can show early stage, the investors I talk to now that's in the VC space are stunned by the results we have in the fund this far. I was talking to one of the largest Norwegian investors today, and he was like, "This is incredible, what has done." So that is like the easiest way to move forward, but it desires success from an investment perspective. But on the other hand, there are also like initiatives like in our community company, the building financial literacy on what to do when scaling, how to apply not for the first financing round, but how can you plan for financing over the course of the next 10 years. So you've got a plan in place. That sort of financial literacy will be important to give to more women. and also challenge and get the investors to think differently and see this as a business opportunity.
Thank you. And it's a really important subject, and I'm glad to hear that on Feminvest you are working towards improving this. Madeleine, I mean, what are some practical ways we can make investment more accessible and easier to start with? I know you have a perspective from your app, and that can simplify saving. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and how women can work with that?
Yeah, so that's really interesting that you're asking, because we are actually releasing a report on the topic on Sunday, since it's the 8th of March and the International Women's Day. It's called From Trad Wife to Trade Wife. And the results are unfortunately quite disencouraging, because what we see is that the gap is increasing in Norway. Although more women are investing, and percentually the growth rates are higher, but because it's coming from such a small base, right? The result is that still men are increasingly making more and more out of investments than women. So, for example, on an ASK account, like the Swedish ISK, the gap has increased from an average difference of 20,000 more in favor of men. It's now almost 70,000. What we also found in this report is that getting started is the first hurdle and the most important hurdle towards long-term investing success. So that's why we're here in Stack, right? We have our academy to educate people, but also financial incentives are very important. So some kind of gift to get started is also proven through literature, and also in Stack that works, right? So in Stack we see that 44% of our onboardings have some kind of incentive. So it's either a money bonus, so we have start bonuses and then we have referral bonuses. But when we do webinars, we see an equal amount of onboardings if we offer 300 kroners or if we offer our gold membership, which is an added value service for more courses and all the webinars and recordings, etc. It has a value of around 600 kroner NOK a year. So what we see is that there is no difference in whether it's the knowledge membership or if we're giving money, but it's very important that they are getting something extra. So it might be a Norwegian thing. I've heard that Norwegians are more concerned with sales than in Sweden. In Sweden, people look at the prices. In Norway, we look at the discount.
Yeah, maybe, but it's also great to hear about having these initiatives to really make women come into the space and explore it more. Thank you, Madeleine.
Yeah, but just like to finalize and wrap it up, one of the key findings, which is not surprising to Michaela or myself, is that knowledge is obviously a big hurdle. And so counter to international research, which has found, US studies has found that women have lower financial literacy rates. But if you add the question, if you remove, I don't know, and you remove the possibility of not answering, a US study found that women answer almost the same rate correct as men. However, the Norwegian study still found a gap. And the drawback, which we discussed in the report, of removing the I don't know, is that people are guessing. And if you're guessing, you don't actually really know. So it might actually be a bit of a false positive there. But it shows that women could probably learn it and figure it out if we had the opportunity.
Thank you. And also good that you have these educational incentives as well. Great. Erika, you come from an interesting angle and aspect as well, because you work in a publicly listed company environment. So it regards how you can communicate clearly about financial strategies and those opportunities. How do you see we can make investing more accessible and easier to start with from that perspective?
First, I have to say I've had some issues with sound, so I didn't hear what Michaela was saying. So I hope I'm not covering the same things, but rather build on everything. For me, as coming in from communications and having worked in this area, adjacent for a number of years, narrative is very important. And what I'm seeing is that, I mean, blockchain and crypto is still quite young markets, which means that they're, early adopters will have an advantage and be more interested. But it's also very tech focused, which is not necessarily bad in some aspects. But when it comes to having a more general adoption, a wider adoption, less of the early adopters and more of the sort of average population, I think the narrative of what this is needs to be transformed to a degree. When it comes to blockchain in general, it is very much always about the nuts and bolts. It's rarely about the actual benefits that something brings, which means that if you're new to it, there's such a hurdle. It's not just not having the knowledge. It's the fact that what's being communicated, it's not very easily accessible, and it's not very sexy a lot of the time in terms of the way it's packaged. When it comes to crypto, obviously there are also the negative connotations and a lot of misconceptions about safety and risk and so forth. So I think there's a big exciting challenge now for all of us to build a better narrative, because when you do and you make it more easily accessible, I believe that's going to benefit everyone. That's going to benefit women, of course, from various diversity directions, because the easier it is to adopt, the more people will be interested. But then there's, of course, also technical hurdles. And when it comes to consumer behavior, we do know that most people want an easy access and a low threshold to something that is new. So, I mean, we've been in Web3 for a while. We chose not to continue with that, and we're very excited to go into Bitcoin. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is to offer a way to get exposure to the world's largest digital asset through a very simple purchase of a share on Nasdaq First North. Bundle.
Now we lost you, Erika. Okay, but then I think that, Michaela, I know you also do some educational initiatives on Feminvest. Could you please just shortly explain how you try to make it more easier to invest by those educational initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. So we will, for example, have a huge presentation at Fearless, our Nordic conference that we do in all the Nordic capitals on the 17th of April in Stockholm at Waterfront. It will be gathering 1,500 people, and we have a focus on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, more specifically in that. So we know that, in regards to all the different asset classes, the knowledge and competence to make good investment decisions is crucial. So we have an academy where we introduce women to investing across asset classes, and then we have an investor network that is focusing on angel investing in investing in unlisted companies that for many are the next tranche. And then we have the entrepreneurs community that has 300 entrepreneurs in the Nordic community at the moment. It's growing super fast, and we gather that at the Fearless conference, where we also use it to educate. And we did it in Oslo yesterday with 500 people present. So this is really a good meeting place to gather women and to give thought leadership in all those different asset classes and move that forward. And I'm also in the board of a company that's listed at Nasdaq that is built on both AI and blockchain, using blockchain to make different manual processes in companies more efficient and secure. So AI and blockchain in combination has so much potential that I see. So I'm super proud of also driving the innovation in that regard. So
Happy to hear that.
yeah, a few thoughts on education. And I think like taking lead in boards and management within the blockchain and crypto space will open doors for more women to follow, for sure. I remember this conference in Miami this was in 2021 when we did the SPAC. And they said, like, a joke was said that, you know, there were equal amount of women at the conference because they were had the conference in a strip club. And you know, I think like the industry has come far and it's moving in the right direction, but we need to be present and take part to be able to continue to change.
Thank you. So happy to hear that, and really good that you are making the path forward for ladies to follow you. Amazing. And also thank you for having these educational initiatives as Madeleine and Stack by Me. I wanted to, before we end this, also ask you, Madeleine, in regards to how women and people think about crypto in relation to traditional investments and diversified portfolios. I mean, I know you are onboarding with your savings app. Any reflections on that part from your side?
Yeah, so I mean, we have so many of our customers and users who are excited about us launching crypto. So I do sense the excitement. On the other hand, there are some really, really harsh critics, which I've discussed with Kaja as well. We had a podcast together, and we're also going to work on some courses together for our community. Is that I think it's also there a lack of knowledge. You are afraid of what you don't know. And I personally don't know enough about crypto, right? My background is traditional finance, stocks and bonds and all that. So I understand the skepticism, but I also think that, you know, when the US Treasury has started buying it, you kind of need to acknowledge that it's something which is here to stay. And although the dynamics is different than stocks, right? Crypto isn't creating revenue and returns in any way. But neither is gold, right? And gold has been one of the highest yielding asset classes for the past 10 years. So I think it's just time that we need to educate ourselves. And if the criticism is towards the high rate of criminality using crypto as a currency, I mean, the rates are high. That is true. I think getting women into the system is paramount, right? It's really important because when women come in, it means that we are taking it more seriously and looking at the risk from different angles, and it will come down. The rate of crime going through crypto will come down as it's being more regulated, as it's being more common, and as more women enter the field. So I think it's an important part of the journey.
Thank you. And I completely agree. We need, for real adoption, we need both women and men on board on this crypto mission. And also to just note that we still, when we talk about crypto and crime, we need to remember that still the most part of the financial crime is taking part in traditional fiat currencies. Yes, we know that. And I completely agree. If we onboard more women, we can also hopefully have that number go down. Thank you so much, both ladies. It was a true pleasure to have you and to listen to you. So thank you so much. And now we have explored how investing and financial participation can be more accessible. We talked about educational incentives, but behind every blockchain and crypto project, there are people building the technology. So we will move to next topic, women and tech, talking to women who actually work and build Web3 in tech. Please welcome our next speakers. Hello, Fati and Masha. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Also great, and thank you.
Happy to hear that. So I wanted you both to introduce yourself. What is your background and what are you doing today? What are you're working on?
Masha, do you want to go first?
I can go first. Sure. So I'm a full stack blockchain developer and security researcher. I mostly work with Solidity and TypeScript in the EVM ecosystem. And my main focus is smart contract security. So basically, I'm trying to find bugs before they turn into something very expensive or some expensive bugs. So I studied blockchain development at Media Institute. I guess everyone probably know what is it. It's here in Sweden. I'm in Sweden right now. And thanks my education, I've worked on different kind of projects, from wallet systems and smart contracts. And of course, I did some audits, attack simulations, security testings, and all this stuff related to security. So I also trying to build some things that also trying to solve real world problems. So, for example, I worked with project to support independent journalists and try to do it censorship resistance. And right now I'm building an application that focuses on the gender pay gap, which can probably help to eliminate this problem and make it more visible. So something like this. So I'm somewhere behind the scene.
Amazing, a real Web3 security expert building. And also, Fati, I know you are building, you are a founder. Please tell us about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us again. My name is Fati Hakim. I am the CEO and co-founder of FirstBlock, which started actually as a 360 consultancy from ideation to execution of projects, meaning everything that you can imagine from ideation, marketing, development to go-to-market strategies and execution in that sense. And basically last month we launched also a AI creative studio aside of that, and also a innovation hub partnered with Neuro, so to say, to bring in young individuals with ideas and help them work on their projects and support them in what is needed to execute a solution in that sense.
Amazing. Thank you, Fati. And I know you are a role model and you are very much an advocate for this diversity in the crypto space. So I'm interested, personally, how did you find the way into this space? What attracted you to work with blockchain and Web3?
So actually my journey started 2014, if you think about like getting in touch with blockchain and Bitcoin, but actually the journey started much earlier, I think. I'm actually my parents were refugees and I came as a refugee from Afghanistan. And back in the days, I remember when we were crossing illegally different borders, because back in the days it was not possible to do that legally in that sense. As a child, I remember that the first 3 days when we crossed a border, it was always difficult to get money, because usually when you cross borders, you should not have any money in your pockets or your body, because it becomes very dangerous. So this is how I had these difficulties faced by myself. So when 2014 I was introduced to Bitcoin, it was such a profound experience, because I was like, oh my God, that could have solved so much issues. And I mean, as Rebecca and Hani said before, there are still people out there not having the possibilities to access bank and to have the possibility to have the financial elements on their body. So that is definitely something that brought me into that space. But then since 2014, first invested, then 2015 started investing Bitcoins that I invested in Bitcoin into different projects. Then when the ICO hype started advising, consulting a lot of different projects. And 2022 then moved to Sweden, because I was hoping that more innovation happens here in compared to the German-speaking countries where I was before, in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, and then started FirstBlock.
Thank you. Really interesting to hear your journey. You really understand the value that crypto and blockchain can give from your background. Amazing to hear. Masha, you are, as I mentioned, a Web3 expert. How did you find your way into this space? I'm curious to hear.
It was really quite unexpected. Before blockchain, before security, I worked with photography and filmmaking and even painted cars. So I did something completely different. So, but because of my Russian background, when this awful war started, I became very aware of how powerful censorship and information control can be. It was just, wow, it was crazy, and it's still crazy. And some journalists, friends of mine, were actually imprisoned because of their work. And when I met this personally, when I see it in reality, it's really affected me. And around that time, I keep thinking about how easily information can be changed, censored, or erased. And I really started to hear, I don't know, I just was crazy about this part. And at the same time, I started to hear a lot about blockchain, about ideas that information can be stored on chain and can be really difficult to alter or remove. And it clicked in me. So that made me curious, and I started to reading more about it. And at the same time, I applied to blockchain development program at Media Institute, where I focused on, of course, understanding all this system and how it works, all decentralizing systems. And that time I started to think how I can help to my friends. And quite quickly, I realized that when software controls real value or some important information, security is incredibly important. So a small mistake in a small contract can have really serious impact in some situations. I think about my friends again, who is in prison. It could even expose identities or sensitive information, which for some people can be really danger. It's crazy. And I started to think a bit more, not bit more, a lot of more about responsibility. And so, you don't want to build something with good thoughts and then put someone in prison or in danger. So you really want to have it as secure as possible. So I became more and more interested in security research and auditing. So basically understand how everything works. So I started to read a lot. I started to check lessons, reading about vulnerabilities. And later I guess that everyone in my class can remember that can I please audit your contract? Can I please check your contract? Or can I please check it? So I just was really pain in the ass for everyone to ask, can I check it? Can I check it? Can I find some bag? Can I find some bag? So that's how I gradually moved from art to security and testing attack simulation. So kind of,
Fascinating. I mean, especially in these times when we have fake news and they are hard to know what to trust, then blockchain really solves a good problem in terms of trust and transparency. And I mean, what you are doing with smart contract audits, that is definitely on a deep technical level. So thank you for sharing. Fati, you are also building, I mean, you are living a founder's life working with Web3 product. How does your day-to-day work in Web3 actually look like as a female founder?
Oh yeah. So as a founder, it's not a day-to-day, it's like a month-to-month, I think, because you're 24/7 basically, right? But so I don't think that I can compare one day with another day. What some people that are not in innovation sector, they don't understand. It's like every day you find something new, amazing, because the technology is new, and then you get amazed or you meet new people where exactly that innovation brings you together, and then the conversations that you're having about that. I mean, my background is basically not really technical, like I am doing more the strategy work and the ideation part of it, but like seeing like so many ideas coming together from the idea to development and so on, it's like really amazing. It feels like every time something like that happens, it's like a birth of a baby, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, here we are, we worked so long on it, and when we basically build it and now sending it out, and let's see what happens in that sense. So it's kind of like every time very exciting. And I mean, meeting all these people is it's every day is different. So I can't tell you like, okay, I wake up at that time, do this and that, because you never know. It can be a call all of a sudden. Yeah, Asia, because we have an office also launched last month in Singapore, for example. And my day can start on 3 a.m, or my day starts at 9, or like it's always different in that sense, because you have to be when you work in that area, you have to be open for any ideas coming in. You never know. You have to have the ability to listen and to really take in, because sometimes idea comes to you and you're talking with somebody about that, and then all of a sudden another idea. And very often you realize, like, when the world is ready for an idea, you hear it from different directions, or maybe you hear it and then all of a sudden you combine it with something that you faced or you're struggling with, and then something new comes out of that. So I love actually what Masha said, like she's being like, you know, we need that type of proactive people in development that are like really like thinking about like, okay, how can I solve a problem? Because very often technology is like, oh, it's great, let's put it in there. But what exactly is the idea solving? I really love that. I mean, the word thing, Masha, we have to definitely talk about it.
Yeah, we should.
Amazing, amazing. And a really good example of how this Web3 and crypto space world is, this attention all the time, 24/7. And I love that you share your perspective as a founder, because I think that that is also on another level of always being accessible and thinking, what can I bring into this space? And
especially, I mean, in the AI sector, like in the AI times, like we don't know anymore what deepfakes are and so on. And then blockchain coming in and then really being that missing piece that we can confirm what is real and what is not. That is definitely a big win. Back in the days when we were talking about solutions in blockchain before AI was really coming mainstream, it was very often people were asking, yeah, but show me use cases. Why should we use AI? And the world becoming more and more digital ownership and digital authenticity is more and more important. And you have to be able to prove what is right and what is wrong, or what is real and what is not, right? And that is where I see the link coming in, not just in proving what is right, but also like if it's really the real person doing that, right? So
yeah, fascinating. Thank you, and also a really good example of how blockchain and AI can work together. Masha, security is such an important topic in crypto. What are some common mistakes that people make when entering Web3 in crypto, and how can they stay safe?
I would say that the biggest problem which I still see, that people misunderstanding blockchain. So blockchain by themselves, it's pretty secure, and people usually think that everything we've built on the top of it is automatically secure as well, but it's not true. It's not the way how it works. And yeah, blockchain blockchain is secure, but people still communicate with wallets, exchanges, DeFi platforms, or smart contracts, and that's where often everything happens, all bugs or mistakes or scams as well. And yeah, so I think that the very common problem is the same as before. People don't read small text under the in the end of the contract. But okay, if we transfer it to blockchain, I would say that people sign in transaction without really reading what they're signing. It's the most I don't know, common mistake, or what you can see, just the normal human point. So you're just, I can approve it, I can sign it, and you never read, or probably slightly, okay, it's okay. So another thing that I think that also kind of part of it, that people still have no idea about what means unlimited approvals. And I think that I would repeat it 1,000 times and more and more and more, because people really need to understand that when you sign something on the blockchain, on Web3, it means that you can give approvals for everything. And even if, for example, platform A is secure right now, and you give it unlimited approval, it doesn't mean that after 1 year or 5 years, it will be still secure, but you already give approval. So probably right now it's okay, but after a few years, it would not be okay. So I would say that people need to, first of all, learn to read what wallet says and really carefully read what happens. And then at least have a look and check sometimes, at least once in a week or once in a month, I don't know, how much approvals do you have and which approvals do you have. So the approval cache, I guess you can use, or you can Google whatever you want. So there is a lot of platforms which can help you to approve and remove approvals.
And there are also saying in this space, of course, but don't trust, verify. And it is also important to mention, as you said, Masha, that the base layer of the technology is usually very safe, but also one of the risks can be that you need to know or be aware of what you are signing, what it is transition.
Yes, of course. You need to be aware. You need to be sure what are you signing. And every time when someone trying to push you, put it right now in 5 seconds. One last minute. Just pause. Slow down and read carefully what exactly you need. It sounds like ABC, but unfortunately, it still works.
Thank you. One of the most common risks is, of course, social manipulation. So
yes,
that is how you can do scams in this industry. But also knowledge is how we prevent it. So thank you so much, both of you, for being here and talking about building in this sector. It's really inspiring to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So a question many people might ask is, how do you actually enter into this industry? So now we're going to talk about career and education in Web3 and the crypto space. So please welcome Kaja, Nazanin, and Charlotte. You will share your perspective from different career paths and skills and how people can find their way into blockchain and crypto community. Pleasure to have you all.
Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much. A pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies. I wanted to just let you all briefly talk about yourself, your background, and what you're working on. Let's start with you, Kaja, please.
Yes, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me. Always great to be at events like this, trying to include more women in this space, because we really do need more women to join. And for my background, I have a different background than a lot of people in this space, from the policing and from banking. I have a bachelor's degree in policing, and I worked for several years as investigator, intelligence officer. And then I moved on to work for DNB, which is the biggest bank in Norway, as a KYC specialist and academic administrator on crypto. So dealing with all small, medium enterprises related to crypto and blockchain in different ways. And that's when I was able to work with this technology full time and really dig into the different aspects of blockchain. And that's when I really got eager to learn even more, because then it's super fascinating and you also understand more about how the traditional financial system works. So I went on to do a master's degree in blockchain and digital currencies at the University of Nicosia. And a bit prior to finishing that, I started CryptoClarity, where I now work as a self-employed consultant, working with a big variety of clients, from private investors to companies, banks, and so on, and combining what I have of knowledge from my previous jobs and so on to the specific needs of my customers.
Amazing, thank you. And Nazanin, I know you have a different background. You are a researcher and have chosen an academic path. Please tell us about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this great event, and it's my pleasure to be here with you. I am Nazanin. I'm postdoctoral researcher at KTH University. I did my PhD in mathematics with different background, but now I research on real estate tokens, and I study the financial behavior of them. It's about my background and what I do today. Mostly, I'm active in the research sector in the university as a researcher and working on financial data.
Thank you. And last but not least, community is so important in this world. Charlotte, I know you are involved in a lot of community. Thank you, and please tell us about yourself.
I am. Thank you, Zarina. It's good to be here. My name is Charlotte. I'm head of community at Nordic Blockchain Association. We are the largest association for crypto, blockchain, and Web3 stakeholders all throughout the Nordics and the Baltics. And we are a member-driven association with around 50 members and 100 partners, and work to advance the industry as best possible. My personal background, I spent the last 6 years in legal tech, building and scaling communities. I was head of community when I left and was responsible for launching and scaling a global community of 2,000 members from leading companies such as Microsoft, Netflix, OpenAI. So I was very happy and very interested in crossing over into the crypto and blockchain industry.
Amazing, amazing. It's so interesting to hear. We have been over this once already today, but everyone comes from different backgrounds, and still we are here united together in this crypto space and this initiative for females. So that's great. Kaja, you have had quite an interesting career path. You have moved from different sectors and done different things. Could you tell us a little bit more about your journey and how the background has shaped what you're working with today?
Yes, it's really a coincidence, but when I was in the police working as an intelligence officer, I wanted to work even more specifically towards finance and went on to work for the bank, as I told you. And even though it sounds like really different types of jobs, it's still a lot of the same methodologies and workflows, because I've been doing a lot of analysis, investigation. So you work in the same way, just with different types of data and different types of clients, basically. And that's also what I combine in my work today. We're doing risk analysis, risk management in crypto and so on.
Thank you so much. Nazanin, I'm curious to hear more about the work you are doing today, the research and everything regarding that. Please tell us.
Sure. As I mentioned, I mostly studied the financial behavior of real estate tokens or other data in DeFi sector, DeFi world, but mathematics provide me quantitative ability to be able to deal with them. Also, I always love to follow new technologies, not only about Web3, but also about, for example, other things like AI, how we can use AI technologies to deal with complicated data that new technologies like Web3 can provide for us. So that's all I have from mathematics, also analytical thinking, and help me to analyze the data, what we have there. As Kaja mentioned, it's something like what somehow we had in financial, in traditional finance, but with new data, but using new technologies and statistical method from mathematics helps a lot.
Thank you so much. Really interesting examples of what you can work with here in the crypto space without having hands-on crypto. Charlotte, you also have a really interesting work with the community, and you have good communication skills. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work you are doing today?
Well, I think my the work that I'm doing right now is mostly advancing the political agenda in the Nordics. It's election year both in Denmark and in Sweden, and there's a lot of work to be done in removing as many structural and regulatory barriers for the industry to ensure that we have as good an environment as possible for growth and innovation. So that's one of the elements that I'm heavily involved in through our steering committees and other initiatives these days. So yeah, there's so many different avenues and so many different roles to inhabit within this industry. So we're very happy to be here and help shed a light on the different avenues you can take into it.
Thank you. And I mean, since you have different, but still all three of you have really interesting career paths and coming from both academic and community side, I wanted to ask you, for the future, for someone interested in working in this crypto space, what skills do you think are most valuable to develop today? And Kaja, I would like to start asking you.
Well, as a fundamental, I would say that you need to some degree understand the technology, and you don't need to be an expert, you don't need to be a coder, but at a basic level to understand the aspects of decentralization, consensus, smart contracts, and so on, and to understand what the technology, some of the problems that it's trying to solve, like the double spend problem. And it might seem like a lot, but there's also a lot of good content on the internet that you can use to learn these different types of aspects. And I think it's also important to understand that blockchain is so much more than just technology. It's in the intersection, as we've also said a bit about now, it's in the intersection of finance, law, economics, cybersecurity, and governance. So people who can connect these fields and have a look at the broader system to understand this, I would say have a big advantage. And coming from outside of blockchain tech is also an advantage in this kind of way, because different areas of other sectors, which can really be important. And finally, communication skills, as we've also talked about. These are complex things, and being able to teach other people or to explain these aspects in an understandable and simple way is something that is important, and also really important for the broader adoption.
Thank you so much. I agree. Both education is important, and as you were mentioning, it's good to have a basic understanding of the technology also when you are in the crypto space as well, to understand the whole picture. Thank you. I wanted to ask you, Charlotte, from your perspective with your community management and engagement, etc., also working with storytelling, what skills do you think are most valuable for someone wanting to work in this crypto space?
I think for someone wanting to break into the crypto, blockchain, Web3 industry, I think the first thing to do is to do a bit of a self-assessment of what are the high-value market skills you possess. Because I think if there's so many avenues into the industry, and whether your passion and your skill set is within sales or marketing or stakeholder management, if you're an amazing developer, if you're an amazing legal mind, whichever your strengths are, I'm sure there's a place for them in the industry. And this is regarding your background, regardless of your background, gender, education. Going back to what Kaja said, I think I completely agree. It's essential not to let the technology intimidate you, because if you have high value skills and you're able to excel in one field, why wouldn't you be able to excel within this field? To use a very simple analogy for cooking, if you're amazing at cooking Italian cuisine, for instance, why wouldn't you be amazing at cooking French dishes? So it's just about, not being intimidated by the tech, and reflect on which skills are needed in the marketplace, and then just go for it.
Thank you. You are mirroring a little bit what Alexandra mentioned in the beginning, believe in yourself and do this. I assume, Nazanin, you have really great mathematic skills, but if someone wants to pursue your career and be more academic and working with tokenization, as you mentioned, what do you believe are the most valuable skills to have in that environment?
I think education is one of the most important part that gives you the basics. What do you want to do exactly? Which part that you want to follow? Also, adaptability. I think it's another important thing in nowadays living, since technology goes fast, and it's really important to have an eye to see the challenges and opportunities. In particular, as a researcher, all of them can create open research question, and it can be interesting to follow what we can do for that. And being in contact in both sides, industry and academy, to see the challenges and opportunity in both sides. I think it can be important. Also, if specifically, if you want to work with data in particular, statistical knowledge can help a lot to analyze the data. Also, even if since day by day data, working with that can be more complicated, having AI in our toolbox as an analyst, as a data scientist can help us again, as a researcher can help again to deal with more complicated data. But I think being in a community and being in contact with other experts can give us a great network to find our best path and continue, and step by step, by experience, day by day, we get better and better, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's great advice. Kaja, moving on to you. I know you have had a long career in this space, and I also know that you have been interviewed by Norwegian's biggest newspaper, VG. So could you tell us shortly a little bit about that? And also, if you would like to give an advice to women starting in this space, what would that be?
Well, as for the interview with the VG, I was very happy to be asked, and also because they have this focus on women in crypto, as we're talking about today, which I think is a super important topic. It's potentially 50% of the market. And I was also able to get some insight on technology can be used for financial inclusion, different types of other aspects. It's not just solely about gain, like investments and high-risk investments, which I find super interesting, how it can help financial inclusions for women who are excluded from the financial system because they have to have a husband or a father who has a bank account, as an example. And I think if more women were aware of these different types of use cases, even more women would be interested in the space, because usually the focus is on investments, but there is also so much more in this space. And as a tip, I would say don't feel like you need to understand everything before you go into space, because nobody does. And it evolves so much, this space, every day. And I mean, to become an expert or just a person who understands blockchain and crypto, you need to go in before you feel comfortable, and just keep coming back, because that's where everybody started. And yeah, we really need more women into this space. It's still quite early days, so the rules for this are not set today. So I think it's also an opportunity in that way for more women from different parts, industries to join.
Happy to hear that. Always nice to have an opportunity. We should take that, all ladies out there. Come and join us in this crypto space. Thank you, Kaja. Nazanin, I assume when you are in this academic space that education and mentorship plays a big role, or what is your thoughts on that?
Yes, in my point of view, education can be really helpful. It can give you a great foundation, and with mentorship you can find your own way. I experienced both of them, and I think it's the best that you can find. In particular, you can have the great support of different experts, and it gives you the best foundation. But after that, being in the other networks can help you to build your career. It gives you the foundation, but your career, it depends on the other community that you will be there. You participate in them. In particular, there are different programs such as DLT Talent Program, for example, specifically for women, this one, or talent programs that can support and give us continued support to learn more and more and find your way.
Thank you. And I'm actually going to quote Morten on this. When he visited KTH, he actually said that there are more women working with this deep shit technology like smart contracts. And so I am very happy to hear that you have good mentorship and initiative at the university and research and educations that we have. Amazing. Thank you. Charlotte, last question to you regarding community and skills and helping people build career in this industry, what would your advice be? How should they go about?
I think I would, if I were to start my career all over and I was interested in stakeholder management, community building, I would start off by researching the different companies in the industry, which spoke to me, what they do and their expertise and their clients and how they serve the clients and their position in the market space, and then just start reaching out, because there's so many opportunities. And as with any industry, being proactive, not being afraid to get in touch and engage and look for opportunities, because I think many of us, we know throughout our careers that of course there's always the listed opportunities you may find on LinkedIn, but network and building those connections, building those relationships is vital in any industry, and certainly in this one as well. So not being afraid to identify where you'd like to work and then just start reaching out.
Amazing. That's good advice. Thank you so much. Really lovely to have all of you here today, and super interesting to hear about your different career paths in this space. So thank you so much, Charlotte, Nazanin, and Kaja, for attending today.
My pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Been an amazing turnout of ladies and speakers today. To wrap this up, we have heard several women repeating that believing in yourself and education is really important. And I'm also going to mention that the recording of this will be out soon. But once again, thanks for all of the amazing speakers today. And also a huge thanks to all of the supporters behind this mission across the Nordics, working towards a more inclusive and diverse crypto space. And of course, Morten, I'm not sure if you want to jump in and share any last words. A huge thanks to you and Kaupr for organizing this event.
I would just say that this confirms what we have thought all the way. The talents are there, the energy is there, the networks are there. It's just have to move it, and we men have to help out, because adoption in this space is dependent on all genders being participating. So, and we had some discussions before regarding this, Zarina. What happens next? We don't have any concrete plans, do we, or how is that?
I think this initiative that you have started, Morten and Kaupr, is amazing. This is the second year, as mentioned, and what we are putting on the table is, if anyone wants to be more involved in this and bring this forward, we are more than welcome to talk more about that, because this is such an important topic and work to do in this Web3 space, because as Morten mentioned, real adoption can only happen when we have both men and women on board.
Yes, and if there are anyone that has some initiatives, that has some suggestions that I want to share, we can share them via Kaupr, the different platforms. And Rebecca told me the other before this event that there has been, for instance, 2 days of a Bitcoin women event for Wednesday and Thursday this week in the States, a really large one. And we have also been in contact with an organization in the Netherlands called the Crypto Women Collective.
Crypto Women Collective, yes.
Yeah, and that's an individual membership organization, but they have partners supporting them. And they had a physical event here in February with more than 150 women. So there are ideas out there. So just do it and go for it, and we can then in Kaupr take more of the backseat, but report on what guys you are doing. So thank you very much also to Zarina. You have been an amazing host. Thank you very, very much, and I will look forward to the next opportunity that we can cooperate.
Thank you, and I also want to wish all of you a wonderful weekend and an early happy International Women's Day. or women's tech. Thank you.